Cranking things up in Indianapolis. How about let's talk about some guys that maybe the Jaguars should keep an eye on, or at least Jaguars fans could keep an eye on. So the Jaguars do have a handful of needs that they have to fill this offseason, right? Whether you want to talk about if Travis Etienne leaves and you need a running back, or if Devin Lloyd leaves and you need a linebacker, or maybe the hole at cornerback. I got 4 guys that I think are at least worth keeping an eye on. We'll start with maybe the pipe dream of the bunch. Florida Gators fans, you know exactly who I'm talking about, and it's Caleb Banks. The big defensive tackle is a splash kind of player, and the Jaguars need to improve on that defensive line. They'd do it quick if by some small miracle they could find a way to get Caleb Banks in the draft. Somehow I think he's going to be off the board before they get on the clock at 56. But, you know, James Gladstone likes to say if there's a chance to be bold, he's going to take it. Landing Caleb Banks, I'd say, would be a bold move. So he's a guy that's at least worth keeping an eye on in an interesting defensive line class that is going to be out there on the field in Indianapolis. Caleb Banks is one of the few guys that's different. He's a pressure player. He would make an impact for the Jaguars day one. Elsewhere on that Jaguars defense, they need a little bit of help at corner. So how about a cornerback from San Diego State, Chris Johnson? He's been fantastic through his collegiate career. The Jaguars might lose both of their starting outside corners from most of last season, and Buster Brown and Greg Newsome to free agency. So that leaves you with a hole in the secondary. Regardless of where Travis Hunter is going to play, you still need 2 outside corners, right? So what you going to do? You go to the draft and you get a guy. And this is a guy who can play for you. It's not huge. He didn't play at a huge school, but he definitely has a lot to prove. The statistics are lights out. This guy was a lockdown corner for San Diego State. But the question marks for him come in the form of, who'd you play? But he showed out every time he got out there on the field. Took care of his matchup. So for a guy like Chris Johnson, the NFL Combine is going to be a huge moment. Can he go out there and test like an athletic freak on the field and make teams forget that he played most of his college football at San Diego State? Now, let's go to the offensive side of the ball. If you lose Travis Etienne, somebody got to tote that thing, right? Bashal Tutin's definitely going to be in the mix, but how about you get some thunder to Tutin's lightning, and Jonah Coleman could be that guy. Now, the knock on Coleman is that maybe he doesn't have home run speed. That's perfect, because if you pair him with Tutin, Tutin's got all the speed in the world, and you let this guy go be the battering ram. If you want to go for maybe the Lions build, you say let him be the David Montgomery to Bashal Tutin's Jamar Gibbs. It could work, because Jonah Coleman runs physical. He will run through you. He is the type of short yardage running back the Jaguars have been itching for a little while now. Out of Washington, was absolutely fantastic for the Huskies. He's a guy that I'll be keeping a close eye on, because the 40-yard dash for this guy could change everything when it comes to his draft stock. If somehow he puts together a really good time, you're going to see it sky through the roof. Now, one guy on the defense as we wrap things up that'll be a little bit farther down some draft boards that I think has a chance to run a really good 40 time, but that's not the most important part of the weekend for him, is Kyle Lewis. He's a linebacker for the Pitt Panthers. Absolutely dynamic. He shined at the Senior Bowl. In drills that generally aren't geared toward defensive player, Lewis was lights out. He was a playmaker for the Pitt Panthers all season long. Fantastic linebacker. The knock on him, not the biggest guy in the world. So for him, the most important part of the trip up to Indianapolis is the first day. You got to get on the scale, because if he weighs in with a couple extra pounds of muscle, that's going to change everybody's perception on where this guy's going to go. Now, do I think that the scale should be the end-all, be-all when it comes to this guy? No, because I think he's a baller. Seeing him in a Jaguars jersey, I'd love to see what Coach Camp could do at a chest peak like Kyle Lewis out there on the Jaguars defense. But we'll see what they ultimately decide to do. We'll talk more draft and count you down on the News for Jags podcast. We got new episodes coming out all the time. You can track that down anywhere that you get your podcast. But all you got to do, head over to newsforjags.com, click on that handy dandy sports page. We'll try and keep it that simple.